Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
All right, so thank you so much, Dr. Sherrod. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, everybody, for having me. So I love this building because last time I was here, who saw me present last time? All right, keep your hands up. Look around the room. All right. So last time I was here and I talked about stress, I had this incredible, I can't even call her a human being, because it was very unique, because it was a presentation I did probably hundreds of times. And during the presentation, I would say, do a backflip. And this person came up front and actually did a backflip in sandals and a sundress. And her eyes were closed too. And I sat there with my mouth just dropped. And we have it on video. Let me see if I can find the video and I'll send it off to you guys so you can share it with everybody if she's open to this. So can I just get a round of applause for Joanne Werner? Well, you guys stand up. You guys stand up. I mean, I'm checking out her shoes. So since that point in time, none of my talks have came close to that presentation. So I'm hoping that I could add some value today. And I know we are short on time, and there's a lot of things I want to cover. And most importantly, I want to serve you guys, right? You guys are the front lines of our children. And it's so important that the reason why I started doing this pre-COVID was because at that time, kids were committing suicide and teachers were just overwhelmed. And we had technology in the clinic that I thought could serve the community, right? So this presentation is about stress. Who in this room gets stressed sometimes? Now, there are 3 different types of stressors. Who has a pen, a pencil, or like something to, like a tablet to type in, write on, or something? Because we're gonna do some note taking. All right, who's prepared today to do some note taking? I want this to be interactive, all right? If you're not prepared, hopefully you have a photographic memory, because we're gonna be basically covering a lot of information so I'm taking a 2-day workshop into 30 minutes. So bear with me here, okay? And so there's 3 types of stressors. Guess which ones they are. We have emotional stressors, which most people think of, but we also have physical stressors and chemical stressors, right? So let's frame this out. Before I go into like details of what all 3 of those are and then do some demonstrations, I want to see if we have room at the end to do some live demonstrations to get people out of pain. And who has pain in here as well? So I want to see if I could help somebody if we have time. All I need is 3 to 5 minutes at the end. So with that being said, write down my cell phone. This is my personal cell phone number. Ready, guys? 201-248-5854. 201-248-5854. I'll say that again. 201-248-5854. All I ask is to not text me when you're drunk, because that's happened, or ask me about a bill. Anything related to your health, feel free to text me. Okay? I gave my cell phone number now because later on you guys might have a lot of questions and we have not a lot of time to answer them. All right? All right. So I want to teach you guys a concept. There are 2 states of being in any given time. 2 states. How many states? 2. How many states? 2. Okay, good. There's 2 states of being. We're either in a stress state or a calm or anti-stress state. All right, so let's do this. So if you have paper, I want you to draw a line right down the center. And this is the left. And you guys, don't judge my handwriting. I'm a medical professional. All right? We're notoriously having crappy handwriting. All right, so we have a stress state. Stress state. All right, stress. Can you read that? Probably not. And then we have an anti-stress state. Now, who here can think about a time or someone that you went to high school with that just gets underneath your skin? Like, right? Raise your hand if you can think of somebody that they did something to you in high school or grade school or something happened to you last week that just irks you, right? And so when you think about that person, what happens to your heart rate? It goes up, right? What do you think happens to your blood pressure? Goes up. Guess what happens to your blood sugar? Yep, it goes up. Oh my gosh, this is getting worse. Look at that. You can't even, I leave letters out every time I write. So under stress, the heart rate goes up, blood pressure goes up, blood sugar goes up. Do you think blood moves to the extremities? Do you think it goes to your digestive system? Spare fingers. It goes to our extremities. And why does it go to our extremities? So we can run away, we could fight, we could flee. Right? That's how the nervous system is governed. That's how the nervous system functions. Right? So under stress, heart rate goes up, blood pressure goes up, and then blood sugar goes up. These are the top 3 causes of disease in America. Cardiovascular disease, cancer, obesity. So there's a famous physician, endocrinologist named Dr. Hans Selye, back in the 1950s, found that stress was the primary cause of all disease. Isn't that wild? Now, when we think about stress, we want to think about emotional stressors. That's going to be a part, simple. We're going to get through that pretty quickly. I'm going to teach you guys a technique that you could do that could help resolve emotional trauma, no matter how old it is today. Who would want to learn that technique? But then there's other 2 types of stressors, physical and chemical, I want to take a deeper dive into, because those are subconscious stressors that we don't even know are happening. Cool? Cool. All right, so under a stress response, heart rate goes up, blood pressure goes up, blood sugar goes up. Blood flow moves away from the digestive system, goes to the extremities because we want to fight, right? Now, what happens under an anti-stress state? What happens to the heart rate? All right, you guys are good. What happens to the blood pressure? Oh yeah, look at you guys. And what happens to blood sugar? I put BS in there for blood sugar, nothing else. Blood sugar goes down. So then, do you think that this is a healthy state, or do you think this is a healthy state? Which one? The right side, right? Anti-stress, right? So it's very important for you to understand the concept between the 2 states of being. Because if you feel yourself going into a stress state, like you think about something, or you're worried about something in the future, we need to regulate that. That's how we become adaptable. Everybody has stress, right? Everybody. But it's our ability to adapt to that stress response that allows us to have safety and longevity in our lives and health. Okay? Cool? Cool, cool. All right, so now I want to go into our first technique. And the first technique is pause and breathe. Pause and breathe. So next time that butthole cuts you off on the highway, or next time a student or a coworker, our coworkers are great, bother you, I want you to pause and just take a breath. That's the first technique. Because what we're doing is we're resetting the brain. That's all we're doing. Simple, easy. But how many of you guys would remember that under a stressful situation? I'll tell you, I've known this for years, and I still don't pause and breathe. So here's a friendly reminder to what? What? All right, so everybody stand up. Let's shake it out a little bit. All right, this is another technique I'm gonna have you guys do. And what I want you to do is I just want you to shake things out. Shake it out. Don't worry about anybody staring at you. Who cares? All right, now from here, what I want you to do, I want you to put your hands on your belly. Then we're gonna breathe really fast. Not slow, this is a different technique, fast. And you can breathe only from your nose, ready? But before we do this, I want you to think about one stressor, something that's bothering you right now, and I want you to quantify that stressor on a 0 to 10 scale. You guys have something? 10 is the worst. I wouldn't do something that's old and like deep-rooted yet. I'll teach you a different technique for that. But what I want you guys to do is think of something that's bothering you either in the future or in the past. Okay? You guys got something? Yes? Yes or yes? Yes. All right, so from now here, what I want you guys to do, you're gonna breathe from your nose and you're gonna push your belly in and out. So it's gonna look like this. I don't know if you can see me. Now make sure you don't snot on your neighbor. All right? So just be mindful of what's happening in your sniffer box. You just don't want to snot on anybody, okay? So what we're gonna do is this. We're gonna do this for 30 seconds, all right? Everybody ready? Here we go. I love it. Keep on going, keep on going. Now make sure you're breathing from your belly. Some of you guys are doing this. Okay? I'm not gonna call anybody out with their hand splint on. It's not easy, is it? There you go. Now, what I want you guys to do, that was absolutely ridiculous, right? And notice how you guys started laughing a little bit? So what we're doing is when we're in a stress state, CO2 drops in our body, which creates a very, very stressful event in the body. So by us breathing like this, we're actually increasing CO2, which is anti-stress. So when CO2 goes up, it unbinds oxygen from hemoglobin, and it improves oxygen proliferation inside the body. So now when you think about that stress response now, you guys could sit now. Thank you for your participation. Now when you think about that stress response now, how does that feel differently to you now? Raise your hand up if you think about that stressor now, if it feels different. Yeah, don't be shy. And if it doesn't feel different, we just got to do this again. How many of you that I felt differently with, was it an 8 and it dropped in half? Yeah. If it was an 8, did it go below half? Did it go down to 2 or 3 for you guys? All right, that's good. That's what I want to see. These techniques are tools. They're useless unless you know to use them, right? So this is how you guys can use it. We know the difference between a stress state and anti-stress state now, right? So when your heart rate starts going up, you're in a stress state, right? So if somebody, you ever have that creeper that's following you around, you're like, just let me be, right? If your heart rate starts going up, you're in a stress state. So if you start getting annoyed and you feel the heart rate going up, who feels that often? Who has children and who manages the kids, right? We feel that all the time. That's a stress state. The heart rate's going up. So the first thing we do is pause, take a breath. The second thing we could do later on, when nobody else is looking, we could practice this breathing technique. Okay? All right? Because what happens, if you guys were a deer in the wild and you got chased down by a mountain lion and you survived, do you think that deer is really worried about that mountain lion when it goes to eat with the family? It doesn't. It doesn't. Do you know why it doesn't? Because it doesn't have a neocortex or frontal lobe like humans have. We're the only animals in the animal kingdom that can think about something that happened to us 20 years ago and have a visceral effect. We're also the only animal that can think about the future and get worried about it and have a visceral effect. Does that make sense, guys? All right, we get this, the 2 states of being. First, have to identify whether we're in a stress state or anti-stress state, right? Stress state, heart rate goes up. So when you start noticing that, that's when you talk to yourself. Be like, okay, Joanne, pause, take a breath, later on, reset, okay? Think about this being your thermometer, right? You're gauging your thermostat internally. Does that make sense, guys? But first, we had to become aware. Are we aware now? Yes or yes? Yes. Okay, all right, cool. All right, next concept. How much time do we have? All right. Do I have to stop at 10 or? Okay. All right, so next what we're going to do is we're going to draw a snowman, just like this, but it's going to be a different kind of snowman. Let's have everybody draw this with me. All right, so we have a snowman. He's not a full snowman yet, and he's going to be kind of weird. This is a big fat head. This little itty bitty tiny body. Big fat head, little tiny body. Why did I draw it like that?
Because our minds can take over our body.
Exactly. You're so smart. Not only are you good looking, so smart. That's teacher. He's a good one too. All right. So now, as we drew this out, so this is our mind. Now, there's 2 parts of a mind. We have the conscious mind, and we have the subconscious mind. Conscious mind What is a conscious mind, guys? What is it? It's our thoughts. What's subconscious?
Things you do without thinking.
Exactly, things that you feel without thinking. So this is feelings. Wait for it. Here we go. Thoughts create a feeling, right? We can think about something that happened to us in the past or something that may or may not happen in the future, and it creates a feeling inside the body. And then what happens to the heart rate? And so then the feelings influence the body, and it creates an action. Okay? You see the math here? See how it's working? Does that make sense, guys? So our thoughts create a feeling, and the feeling does what to the body? It creates an action. And that action is either whether you're in a fight or flight state, a powerful state, or a primitive stress state. Does that make sense? So theoretically, if we know this, if we identify that whether we're in a stress state, our thoughts, okay, I'm identifying consciously I'm in a stress state. I have a choice now to have a feeling of either a negative feeling or a positive feeling, right? So if I have a negative feeling, it's going to create a negative response in the body. Does that make sense, guys? All right. So we talked about the 3 stressors. The first stressor I want to go over is emotional stressors. You guys learned how many techniques so far? Actually 2. We learned pause, take a breath, right? And then we learned fire breathing. All right. So right now I want everybody to fill out a symptom survey. So Leanne, you guys have 2 minutes, 3 minutes to fill this out. Don't worry about, what's that? What? What's that? Okay. All right. So take a couple minutes to fill this out. And now I'll just need one. I'm going to set a timer on my phone. I don't have my phone. You only have 2 minutes because we only have 15 more minutes. And it gives me a coffee break.
My dad saw you in Park Ridge, but you guys closed.
We closed Park Ridge. Miriam Ramsey.
Will you take him back?
Of course.
I
Of
mean,
course.
Something for him to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, yes, that's what I did.
When-
He went right, he walked there because I don't know if you remember my dad, Stephen Garbutt.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He fell, he hit his head, he had bleeding.
Oh no.
And this was when he started coming to see you. But he was right in the building right there. Now he lives with me.
Okay. Where do you live?
Emerson.
Okay.
Tell Judge Ramsey, it's nothing to do. He's
Yeah.
not working anymore.
Yeah. Dude, you have my cell phone now. Text me. Yeah, I'll get him in as soon as possible.
Medicare, United,
Yeah.
Advantage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right, I'm gonna walk around and stare at people awkwardly. Do you need a pen? How's everybody doing?
Fine. It's not secretive now. It's not.
How much more time do we have? "45 seconds. I know some of you guys came unprepared with no pens. I'm old school. Oh, can I have a copy? Can I have a copy? Where are they? I just need one copy to go over stuff. Oh, we got one? Okay, perfect. All right, guys. All right. Listen up. Everybody should be done, I hope. All right. How many of you guys were honest and filled this out? You don't have to raise your hand. Now, how many, I did the same talk yesterday, and of these items, how many of you guys had 10 things circled? You don't have to raise your hand if you don't feel comfortable. How many had 8? 6. Thank you for honesty. 5. 4. 3. Good. 2. Good. 1. How many had none? I know some of you guys didn't fill it out. So, all right. So if we have 2 or under, you're in pretty good shape. There are some stressors that we have to handle if you're 2 or more. Sound good? Not so good, but it's fixable, right? That's the whole entire thing. Now, before we go into the next education tool, we're going to do one meditation tool to reduce stress. So this one is very powerful. It's called the havening technique. It was created by Harvard, a Harvard researcher, and when he did this technique, it's really simple. Let's have everybody copy me. It's really simple. It's like hugging yourself. And what they found in the research study at Harvard was just by massaging the sides of the arms, you light up a part of the brain called the amygdala. And it turns out the amygdala is where all trauma, emotional trauma is stored. So this is a very effective technique to reduce traumatic emotional events. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pick a stressor. Again, we're going to pick another stressor. I wouldn't go with the old stuff. I wouldn't go with something that like happened to you in childhood because I don't want anybody crying in here yet. So pick something maybe that is a minor stressor that happened to you within the past couple weeks. All right, so think of something right now and quantify that in a 0 to 10 scale. All right, good, everybody has it? Raise your hand if you got it. Higher. There we go. I'm good. All right, so from here what we're gonna do is this. We're gonna rub the arms. And I want you everybody to close your eyes. You're just gonna follow my voice. Now I want you to think about that stressor. And you guys will have access to this. This is on my YouTube channel as well. I want you to think about that stressor. Now let go of that stressor now. And I want you guys to imagine walking on the beach. And as you're walking on the beach, I want you guys to hear the waves, the sounds of the seagulls. And now as a team, we're going to count out loud to 20. Starting now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. At 20, keep your eyes closed and keep on rubbing.
18, 19, 20.
Good, keep your eyes closed. Now imagine and remember a time that you were so powerful. Remember a time when you felt so strong and so confident. Feel that power within. Was it when you graduated high school or college or got your doctorate? Was it having a child or holding a loved one? Find a time in your mind. Remember that time. Feel back in that time. Go back in that time. Feel how powerful you are. Sense it inside your body. Feel it inside your body. And as you're feeling that inside your body now, put a color to that. Feel that color. See that color. Now brighten that color up. Now bring that color as you're rubbing your arms. Bring that color. Feel that feeling. Come up to your head. Awesome. Bring that color down your face, down your chest, your back, your belly, your hips, your knees, your feet. Now bathe yourself with that color. Feel that feeling. Feel that brightness. Feel that power. Now take your mind to a hiking trip. Let's walk in a meadow. Rub your arms as you're walking in the meadow. And I want you guys to count to 20 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Now take a deep breath in and exhale. You guys are doing so good. You could open your eyes, come back to the room. Now when you think about that stressor, how does it feel differently now? Who felt a bigger change with this one than the breathing one we did earlier? So this one works extremely well. We've had kids that came to see us that tried hurting themselves or did hurt themselves. And just by doing these psychosensory techniques at home, because it's different than talk therapy. Because I'm not against talk therapy, but if we think thoughts or talk thoughts, what's happening to the feelings? We're reprogramming that cycle over and conditioning that cycle over and over again. What I like about this strategy, you're actually getting to the root, which is the nervous system storing that emotional trauma. I think they both work. I think combining them makes the most sense. Okay? And this is simple, easy technique. How long did it take? 60 seconds to 90 seconds, in that range. And it felt pretty good, didn't it? Right? Who feels a little bit less stressed right now because of that? And it's simple and easy to do. And again, if you guys want to watch this again, it's on my YouTube channel. It's called the Havening Technique. Okay? I'll make sure I'll send it to Kelly or somebody so you guys have access to it. All right? All right, so that's one technique. Now let's dive into this because we're running out of time. Because I want to go into this a little bit further. Now we have subconscious traumas, stressors. We have physical stressors. What's a physical stressor? Give me an example of a physical stressor. Great, you guys are so smart. So pain is a physical stressor, right? So if we think about pain, we got to think about it from a couple of different physical stressors component. We could have musculoskeletal pain, right? Which is joint, muscle, ligament, tendons, etc. And then we have neurological, I don't want to say pain, but neurological stressors, which could be neuropathies, who's had neuropathy in the past, who's had carpal tunnel in the past, radiculopathy, which is nerve compression, right? That's all neurological. And then we have vein pain, which is something that I want to talk to you guys about because it's very, very important to understand this. So about 5 years ago, who's ever had a flood in their basement? How frustrating is that? So we consistently in my house, I live in Mawa, and we kept on having water that would seep from our neighbor's property, come into our backyard. And about 2 years ago, I was in my backyard, the water was all the way up to my shins. It was up to my knees rather. And we knew that if we don't fix this, it's gonna go into our basement again. So we got drainage put in the backyard. And the drains were working perfectly. We're having such an awesome time. We didn't have to worry about anything. And then one day it stopped working. I get home from work, it's pouring out. Remember the rains last summer where it was just like really, really bad? I go into my backyard with my wife, I go over to the drain and I pull out a bunch of leaves. And as I pull out the leaves, guess what happens to the water? It starts going back down. Right? So within minutes, the water started going back down. Now, who's ever heard of chronic venous insufficiency? Yeah, not many people have. So what are the veins? The veins, they are a conduit of fluid. So the heart pumps blood down to our extremities. And if the venous system is working well, the blood moves from our extremities back up towards the heart. Now, like that blocked filtration system in my house, the veins, if they become dysfunctional, blood starts pooling and start causing varicose veins in the legs. And these varicose veins, they're not a big issue early on, but as we age, they create ulcers. And these ulcers over time could create very bad infections in the body. So if you guys have not had your veins checked, I would highly recommend it. Because it's estimated that about 25%, how many people in this room are 35 years old or older? All right. So the average, so at 35 years old, about 40% of Americans have chronic venous insufficiency diagnosed. 40%. If you're 40, it's over 50%, and that's diagnosed venous insufficiency. So this is it's like almost going to a dermatologist, getting checked out, get your veins checked. I tell you that now because it's really important. And if the veins are good, you're good. But it's something that you should routinely every year get your veins mapped. And if you have any questions on where to get your veins mapped, you have my cell phone. I could guide you. We do have a vein specialist on our staff as well that could actually assess your veins for the venous insufficiency. Okay? All right, guys. So it's really important that we look into this. All right. So we have the physical stressors, and then we have what's known as chemical stressors. And guess what chemical stressors are? Love it. That's great. That's great. Thank you so much. Yeah. So, yay! Somebody spoke. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. I appreciate it. So, a chemical stressor is also a deficiency or toxicity. So, if we're deficient in a macronutrient or micronutrient, the body's going to go under stress. And this is what happens under stress. All right, we're going to wrap up. Think about who has some pain in either the shoulder or their neck that wants to get treated today. All right, you guys think about it. All right, so under stress, how many in this room have pain? Okay. It is estimated about 90% of the population have lower back pain. So that's just for the lower back. And this is how, in our process, stress creates an inflammatory response. And who remembers the 3 stressors? What are the 3 stressors? Emotional stress, physical, and chemical. You guys are so good. All right, so any kind of stressor, a physical stressor, emotional, or chemical stressor, creates an inflammatory response inside the body. Then inflammation, this is working well, inflammation will cause scar tissue. Who knows what scar tissue is? What's scar tissue? It could be dead tissue, but scar tissue is this. So muscles, they're supposed to glide like this. And everybody do this for me. This is how muscles are supposed to glide. Now when you have scar tissue, muscles do this. You ever feel those knots in your upper traps, your neck? You're like, oh, I feel these trigger points, these knots. That's all scar tissue. Like if a muscle's tightened up for a long period of time, that's scar tissue. Okay, does that make sense? And then the scar tissue changes how the muscles function. And then the muscles change how the joint functions. And then guess what happens? It creates more stress. Does that make sense, guys? So that's why it's really important that we address the emotional side of things. If you need a therapist, get a therapist. If you want to learn psychosensory techniques, start studying that, like the techniques I showed you. We have a lot of those videos on my YouTube channel, so feel free to watch those. Any kind of physical stressor. Getting your body checked out if you're in pain. Getting treatment if you're in pain. Getting the veins checked, which is really important. Or chemical stressors. Now, there are certain foods that are pro-metabolic, which is anti-stress, and there's certain foods that are are pro-stress. And guess which foods, and now this is a long lecture I could do on this, but guess which foods cause stress inside the body? Sugar, carbs, what else do you guys have? Processed foods, what else? Alcohol, what else? All right, anything fun. What if there was a diet protocol that was fun, that was pro-metabolic, and allowed us to lose weight, if you want to lose weight very quickly, and boost your metabolism? I think that we'd all be game for that, right? So the pro-metabolic diet looks like this. In order for us to produce energy comes from the mitochondria, remember that stuff, right? We need proper functioning thyroid function. We need glucose and we need oxygen. All right, I'm gonna map that out again. We need thyroid function to be optimal. We need glucose and we need oxygen. Now, most of us said in this room that it is sugars. Who thought sugars would be like the killer, right? It's actually not the case. It's you said processed foods. So who's ever heard of a polyunsaturated fatty acid? All right, so polyunsaturated fatty acids are one of the most stressed chemicals on the planet. So any kind of nut, seed oil, vegetable oils, get those out of your diet very quickly. From a chemical perspective, those are creating a lot of inflammation inside the body. That's number one. Number 2 is cut out nuts and seeds out of your diet, which contradicts everything we've ever learned, right? Because those are anti-metabolic foods. Those are poisons to the cell. So the mitochondria needs glucose, and it needs oxygen, and it needs thyroid function. And just by adding fructose, more fruit in our diet, without fat, there's a concept in cell biology called the Randall effect. And the Randall effect says this: if you have a carbohydrate with a fat, a carbohydrate with a fat, the body will convert that into fat storage. Because the body, the cell, cannot take in glucose if it's combined with the fat. So avoid eating your fats with your sugars. That's the thing. So foods to cut out, polyunsaturated fatty acids, and do not combine fat with sugar or fat with a fruit. Okay, just those 2 concepts. I talk about this a lot on my YouTube channel, so feel free to go there. If you want to learn more about that stuff, you can see me for acupuncture. All right, I want to do one demo.